So the other day, I got a call. She had planned this meeting with me. I don't know what to say to her. It's been so long since I could have even talking to somebody like this. This is like something that like, hold on a second. Yeah. So anyway, this is something I could have. You know, you just can't even like make this stuff up. She called me back. It's like, you know, I'm gonna be talking to her. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, it's like, what do you say to a person like this? How do you explain this? You know, it's like, what do I ask her? Like, you know, this is just really exciting. It's terribly exciting. It's been years since she's talked about this. I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm gonna, well, you know, do I go up to her and just ask her, like, you know, how you been all these years? I don't even have questions for her. You know something? This is crazy. You know, I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna say things to her like, you know, well, you know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy. I don't know. Let's, you know, come on, let's go talk to her and see what she's been up to all these years. How long has it been? How long has it been? I'm trying to like piece it all together, and you know, maybe this is where we learn about the big thing. I'm gonna go knock on the door, and we're gonna find out what she's been up to. This looks like this walk hasn't even been shoveled in the dog's age.
Thank God you're here.
It's been a while.
Come on in.
Man, it smells in here.
I really thought that I had left it all behind me. The screaming, the awful sex, and those chickens. Those terrible, noisy, dirty, disgusting chickens. And most of all, the aliens. I worked so hard to get away from it. I took a waitressing job. I scraped my way through community college. I got out of that awful town and I moved as far away as I could, 20 miles. But it followed me. 20 years later, it followed me. I really thought that I'd made something of myself. I've been the manager of the local post office for the last 12 years. I've built up my own family. I've become a respectable member of the community. And then it happened.
So we're outside playing with our Barbie dolls, and what would you call it?
I'd call it an average day. I was playing Ken, you were playing Barbie as usual.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's just how the relationship is. But aside from that, it came down, it was like you could ride it, like a canoe.
You could have ridden it, yeah.
With Halloween or Christmas lights.
They were red and
Looks
green
like
and orange.
And it went right over the Barbie dolls, and they just started talking.
Before I knew it, I was blinded with light, and upon waking up, I woke up early morning. I was still laying in my backyard. I still had my Barbie doll, but I was really extremely sore and in a lot of pain, and my stomach was just on fire. And I went to the bathroom, and it was just a massacre. There was just the stool was just fluorescent.
Green. There was green everywhere.
I guess that's the way to put it.
But he invited me in to watch him take his morning dump as usual, and it was greener than normal. I mean, we had a few pistachio nuts the night before, but it was fluorescent. It was glowing.
Not safe. Definitely biohazard.
I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah.
That canoe with Christmas lights. Never again.
We're gonna be in the movie with the weird camera guy. We're gonna be in the movie. We're gonna be in the movie. We're gonna be in the movie. We're gonna be in the movie.
So there you have it, folks. A canoe with Christmas lights. This is a famous story of a family inbred, Strange. Some have grown up, some have inbred some more. But they all saw something that night. Something deep and horrifying. Something that can't be explained by just simple fact. Fiction. Fiction is stranger than fact. So we've woven some fiction to portray the facts. The government has known about UFOs, but this isn't about the government. This is about a family and a canoe with Christmas lights. Most people laugh at us, but I'm a serious-minded journalist. I know what I want. I want people to understand when they go outside, look up in the sky and look at the trailer park you're living in. Are you more intelligent now than you were then? Are you more then than you were now? What do you think about at night? Let me ask you a question. Do you wash? What do you think a fact is? All these years later, the truth remains. Nobody knows anything about nothing. But somewhere, a canoe with Christmas lights remains consistent.
There's nothing I love more than cooking for my family. Oh, who's at the door? It's Uncle Red.
Oh, jeez.
It's Uncle Red. Let him in before he gets mad. Let him in before he gets mad. Quickly. Hurry, let him in.
I'm not here.
Oh,
Definitely.
guys, it's just Uncle Red. Don't worry. You don't have to be afraid of him.
I don't think I have to use the bathroom, but
Call out there. Hey, you got a quarter?
Not now.
Yeah, just give him a quarter and he'll...
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go.
Oh, wait, Uncle Red, we're having dinner. Uncle Red, it's so good to see you.
he's only staying for the change.
Who are you?
Oh. I hope
What are we eating tonight?
Uncle Red, you look lovely today.
Shut up.
I hope you guys are hungry.
I am hungry. Definitely down for some chicken.
You guys gotta feed me now. If you want me to talk about this UFO thing.
Just be careful of
A few years back, I was in the barn with my pig. We were involved in some important stuff. I was taking care of my pig. And I felt a feeling. It was like, I had this feeling come out of me like weird fuzzy stuff on my back or something. I don't know what it was. And then I saw a shadow, so I went outside and I looked up and there's this big, it looked like a turd. It was giant and it had like crystals on it or something.
Uncle Red, do we have to discuss this while we're eating? You're gonna make everyone lose their appetite.
Oh.
So, Red, tell me something
But what?
about that UFO you saw.
I said I don't like talking about that very much. That was a scary time in my life, you know. I was working down at a grocery store and stuff, and my friends were at home.
I see.
So I was up at my farm and I was with my pigs and we were doing some really important stuff, you know, and I went outside and it picked me up and it took me up into it. It was like this big ship or something. It looked big. It was a big, long, like a cigar-shaped thing or something. They brought me up in there and they did tests on me.
Girls, eat more.
And I didn't like those tests very much. They were a little too much for me to handle and I don't really want to talk about it.
This food is mighty good.
Oh,
I love it, Mommy.
Uncle
What?
Red loves my cooking. You always did, didn't you?
Shut up!
Oh, you silly.
Let me ask you a question.
Shoot.
When you were outside chasing this canoe with Christmas lights in that car you stole, how long did you go to jail for?
Not long. I have some people tied in. Everything was alright. Maybe just fear.
Is this true?
No.
It was only his first brush with the law. They were easy on him because he's a minor.
Yeah. They tend to let me go.
Hey, Red. When I had spoken to you about the canoe with Christmas lights, you had grunted a few times and talked about a pig. Care to elaborate?
Huh? You talking to me?
No. Anyway, I was saying, Nancy, when you got back from, when you got back from college, and you saw that canoe in the sky, and yet for the 19th time, didn't you want to call the U.S. Air Force?
Oh no, that would not have helped at all. They were not very helpful the last time.
What, for instance? Give me a for instance.
Well, they raped my brothers.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent.
Do you feel like we're getting somewhere?
Yes, Marsha.
No.
Exactly.
Go ahead, girls. Come on. Time for
Mommy,
bed.
I'm not tired. Me neither.
We've had a long day.
Okay. Good night, Mommy.
Good night, my little angels.
Good night.
Good night, little sweeties.
Good night, Mommy.
Here's a toy for your kids.
Oh, hello again.
So, you put the children to bed. It's been a long, serious, journey for you. Almost like a journey that, has been deep. So I have a few questions I wrote down I want to just ask you. What have you learned about aliens?
Well, I don't believe in them. Because they're taking all of our jobs. I don't believe they should be allowed in this country.
How much rent do you pay?
Rent?
Rent.
What do you mean by rent?
Well, how much rent do you pay? Do you listen to David Bowie?
David Bowie? I think I went to school with him.
What do you think about when you see Christmas trees?
Christmas trees. Well, I think of ravaged, scattered packages, broken, brutally, violently open.
It's raining, it's pouring. The old man is...
Dead?
Do you think they think about you?
What aliens?
When I say oven mitt, what do you want to do?
Vacuum.
Okay. What does football mean to you?
Football? What aliens?
See. There were many UFOs seen in 1989. Did you name any of them?
Well, just the one with the canoe.
What did you name it?
A canoe.
When you left the farm, where'd you go?
Well, I went as far away as I could.
And how far was that?
20 miles.
Do
3
you...
towns over.
Have you ever harmed small animals?
Well, that depends on what you would consider a small animal.
Do you feel a longing to go back to the post office?
Only on Mondays.
So what happened?
More details here.
Well, when I saw the alien, my face got burned really bad. I was friends with the family, and I tried to raise their pigs, their goats, their sheep, their children.
Steer them, so as it
Well, the police done chased me away. They wouldn't allow me near the children. All I wanted was the children.
And maybe one of the sheep.
Well, 3 of the sheep, really.
Oh, wow, yeah.
When I
3 is better than...
when I got older, I felt that I would curate this children's sheep museum that football players could come down and they could be friends with each other, and maybe they could talk things to each other and continue on with their lives. But the aliens wouldn't let me. They shattered my dreams. These days, I make my money reading books and not learning them. And the people that pay me for this are Social Security. And they're going to take my Social Security away because of a canoe with Christmas lights.
I've done a lot of things I'm not proud of. I've been a lot of places. Some of them I can't even tell you about. It's too disturbing.
Fishkill, I hear.
Fishkill's pretty disturbing. But I really struggled to change my life. It's easy to forget about where you've come from. And I was lulled into thinking that my life was perfect. I forgot about it all those shadowy secrets, those menage a trois with my sister and father, those pointy beaks, the chickens. He loved those chickens. Sometimes I think he loved those chickens more than he loved me. That's why, when he disappeared, I didn't cry. I wasn't sad. But then we saw the lights. We saw those lights, and then there were the rapes. All of my brothers. And we knew that the chickens probably hadn't eaten him. What happened to you?
Got checked my chickens on my way here. But I knew I had to come and interview you about that. I couldn't help hearing your pain. Don't touch me.
But you're bleeding.
I'm always bleeding.
Me too. You know, I had some things I wanted to show you.
I saw this. I found this.
That wasn't one of them.
This is what there was a gentleman that I remember from back in '88 that we interviewed that found a pod. And
That's nothing.
oh,
You shouldn't have seen that.
why? So can you tell me where you saw this canoe with Christmas lights?
It was down by the barn.
Man, it smelled in there.
Sure does.
It's a mystery wrapped in an enigma. Wrapped in a mystery, wrapped in saran wrap. Come, gentlemen, let's proceed. Now, this is where you saw Red for the first time? Where was Red when you first got back to the house?
Well, as usual, he was out in the shed, passed out. I heard some mumbling, grumbling, a few groans, some yelling. I thought he was just yelling at the cats again. He does that a lot. But after a while, the ruckus got really loud. And I heard him yelling about urine samples. And he just came running out of the house. And actually, his sleeve was on fire, which I thought was odd. I mean, he set himself on fire before, but this seemed just, the timing was a little strange. So it was really awkward for me because, you know, generally when you point out things to Uncle Red, like, hey,
Right,
Uncle Red,
right.
your sleeve is on fire, he gets really mad. He says something like, shut up! So I did the only thing that, you know, someone in my position could really do gracefully.
Right,
And
right.
that is I just let them burn, because what am I going to do?
Exactly.
So that's when I saw the lights.
Right. And what did the lights look like, essentially? Can you give me as many words as possible to describe the lights? What was the experience like? Did it look like this?
No, not
Oh,
really.
I see. Okay.
It was more like, you know what it reminded me of?
No.
Sometimes I'll be cooking and I'll have a big pot on the stove.
Right,
And you
right.
know how sometimes the lights, the flame under the pot comes up while the pot's boiling and bubbling,
Right.
and there's the kind of like a glow around the bottom. It kind of looks like a pot over a flame on a stove, or maybe a pot on a stove over a flame.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of more what it reminded me of, which wasn't at all like the experience that I had when I
Right.
was 12 back in
Right.
the, you know,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about, that
Yes,
other,
the,
that other time.
right, when we filmed you in that other time.
Right. So it wasn't like that. It
That
was
time,
different.
yes.
In fact, it didn't look like a canoe with Christmas lights at all. There was all this ambient light from
Right,
the
right.
reflection, almost as if it was reflecting off of like a stainless steel vessel.
Right.
And
Right.
the lights were reflecting. There was reflections, you know,
Right.
off of it,
Yeah.
light and trees and
Wow, that's very
sky,
fascinating.
stars,
Right.
street lights,
Sure.
stray cats.
Oh yeah, I love that band.
Yeah. And there were, you know, some sounds, like some ambient, almost like bells ringing, whistling. There was some, you know,
guys-
there was some, you know, there might have been some other reflections from other nearby vehicles. Maybe there was even a second spacecraft. You know, some other things going on. and so-
Right.
Where are they going? Hey, guys! Camera guys! Where are you going?
Bucket.
Bullshit.
I have soup!
It's a serious thing in America today. Most families experience joy, happiness, college, success. Some have incomes, other kids go on to college, they have kids, but not this family. We saw that Mary traveled 20 miles, a whole 20 miles to go somewhere else. She worked at a post office. She made $1.380 an hour. She was gonna be somebody, yet she couldn't leave the canoe behind. She couldn't leave them to fend for themselves. Why, Uncle Red, he can't even get up in the morning without falling down. The two children don't have an education, nor do they want one. But she was brave, and yet the longing to come back and to experience the canoe with Christmas lights remained. She had to solve that mystery. For you see, the lessons that we've learned here today, canoes, Christmas lights, incest, small children, big children, 400 cars and remnants of wreckages of dishwashers and windows broken and snakes crawling around and uncles that drink too much and pass out on the floor. It shows us today that this is what a healthy family is. A family that loves each other in more ways than one way, sticks together. And maybe that's why washing is a good thing. Because the more we're washed, the less sticky we really are. So next time you're out on the road and you see a trailer park and you see Mary and Wilma and Hank and Red and Jim and Mark and Michael and Nancy and Margaretta and Harold and Franklinetta running through the fields naked, keep driving and don't look back. But if you look up in the sky and you see a canoe with Christmas lights, or a turd with jewels on it flying in the sky, poke yourself in the eye and see if you're awake. It's important. Keep on watching your speedometer. This is Mark Headley, signing off. What they have here is a video of the outside of the craft. There were Christmas lights everywhere, and it looked kind of like a canoe. Hard to say though. It's very mysterious looking. It's green, has a green skin, and lights that resemble Christmas lights. And they're from a planet called Coleman. Nobody knows where the aliens are. But we do know this. It's a green ship. We're out at Uncle Red's place. When I'm out at Uncle Red's place, I know that I'm going to ask him questions, and they're going to be tough questions. I'm opening the door.
I wonder who that is.
You Red? Hi, Red?
What?
Hi, I'm
got a
with
quarter.
the video thing here, and I had a couple questions I wanted to ask you about that. Because I'm still troubled. For instance, where did you find the stone?
That was left to me by my grandmother. Put that down.
Okay. What time of day did you encounter the aliens?
What day?
Okay. It's raining, it's pouring, the old man is... When the aliens raped you in the bathroom, what did you, what did you think to yourself as this was going on?
Well, that's kind of hard to explain, because, well, there was a pain involved. Yeah, and it was a pain.
Yeah.
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 There's not much else I can say other than,
I see.
my pig and stuff like that.
All right. And your favorite drink is not Sprite, right? And that's alien urine samples that you had collected over the years?
Yes, these are very important to me. I keep them in my barn, and once in a while my wife goes in there, but I keep her away from that. But me and my pig, we got a special thing going on. And the pig is a very happy pig, and it makes sure that it's happy, okay?
Okay. There's a family from Europe. They come into your...
My what?
Okay, good. So I was thinking that over the hill you saw a canoe with Christmas lights. What do you think, in terms of how high up...
That wasn't no canoe with Christmas lights.
Okay.
That thing was a turd with crystals on it.
What comes after the number 6?
6.
12.
6.
Okay.
I think you should go to college.
The cats were put here for what purpose?
Love.
Okay. So you saw this turd with crystals on it flying over the mountain. How would you describe the smells?
It's not too bad in here.
Good. So what are you doing with the urine samples collected from the aliens?
Well, I don't keep them, if that's what you're asking me.
Where do you see yourself in 20 years?
I don't see myself in 20 years.
I see. I think
Hey,
that-
you got a quarter?
I don't have any
You
quarters.
got a quarter?
I'm out of change. I'm broke. Absolutely.
Uncle Red,
What? Who's this?
do you have a quarter for me?
What's your name, honey? Oh, wait, I'm related to you, huh? I didn't even know that. Ah!
What happened to urine samples?
Shit.
You just destroyed them.
I'm gonna go to sleep here. What the hell? Is that? Get over here. This is a good place to sleep. Just cat food. Got cat food over here. Is there any left?
So there you have it. 20 years later, what have we learned? You probably learned a lot about hair dye tonight. You learned about punching bags. You learned about cats, cat food. You learned about putting children to bed, possibly even rock and roll wigs. And moreover, and most importantly, we learned this about a canoe with Christmas lights. That 20 years later, nobody has learned a damn thing.
That's true.
I could agree.
When she went to the post office and found her job, she was a woman going far away from her family, as far as she can get. She panicked.
20 miles.
She went 20 miles, 3 towns over. The aliens, they don't care about anybody. And they're taking our jobs. Uncle Red got his quarter.
What the fuck am I doing with that?
I have found that I do like ladies' makeup. And moreover, I could never find a hat that just truly fit. And someday, I too will live in a zone controlled by canoes with Christmas lights.